Well, hello everyone. I've actually got it all to work quite well this week. Hopefully, we're not going to have any connection issues. We will find out as we go on. Straight away, I can see Ian Beddoes is over there on Facebook and saying hello. Hello to you. How is everybody? Hope you're all well. I hope everyone's been busy in their gardens, their allotments, and doing what they can in this current time. I think it's probably the polite way to put it. I don't know what everyone's up to or what everyone's current situation is, whether they're working from home, whether they are furloughed or what, but whatever you're up to, let me know what you've been doing in your garden. Of course, you can call in on the phone number 07307 135 174. Leave a comment in the group and I will read that. And basically just get involved. So what have I been up to? Well, you may remember that last week I mentioned that I had been building a new bed. Well, yesterday I managed to fill that up with compost and get that ready to plant a few plants in. This is a bed at home. It's only going to grow some salad crops, lettuce, that sort of thing in there over the winter, protected in some cloches, the usual sort of thing. Looking forward to getting that going, and quite looking forward to being able to put that into use. Even better is that that bed is now full up of compost. It's emptied out 2 of my compost bins, which gives me the chance to fill them back up again with all the mess that I am creating. At the moment, I better just say this, I've not been furloughed. I'm still at work full time. So I've been busy this week working. Haven't had the time to get into everything else, but it is what it is. Right, lots of comments coming in. So let's have a quick look over on YouTube. Ed Loud, Eve Goodnings, good to finally manage to catch a show live. Kevin's Rambles, audio is a long way out of sync, Richard. Well, I can't do anything about that just yet. I'll have to go in and adjust that. Don't quite know what's going on there. And Anna Jones, hello to you. Hello, Richard. Hello, gardeners. Hello to you. Skinny G Gardener, here you are. I was waiting on another video. Haha, good evening. And Cynthia's cameras, good evening, Richard. Ernie, evening, Richard. I trust you're well. Very well, thank you. So over on YouTube, quite busy. Over on Facebook, evening to all in the group from Stuart. Good evening to you. And PS and Richard, of course, good evening to you. Dan Wheeler, hail. Hey, Dan. YouTube not on yet? I think it is because there's people watching on YouTube. And Ian Suggett, hello. How's it going? Ground much softer for digging, ready for planting. Yes, well, I'm digging over, well, I'm preparing an area for planting, which I'm hoping to get if I, well, get completed if I get furloughed. Not that I want to be furloughed, but it's nice to have something to do just in case I do get furloughed. Now, as I said, another video from another vid stream from Turbo Stream. Oh, hello, another from another vid stream. Confusing, not sure. Right, so as I said, I want to know what you've been up to in your own garden, in your own allotment. Let me know in the comments, call in. But also, in about 10 minutes, I've got a video from the lovely Kevin, who is saying that, well, he's just, you may remember a few weeks ago, we visited his allotment, his brand new allotment. Well, he's taken on another area, another bit of allotment, and I want to ask everyone out there how you would tackle it. I've got my own ideas, but that's video coming up in about 10 minutes. And as for the photos, I have got some photos, but I've got to do it differently because I did not get time to knock together a proper video. I've been called out today, believe it or not. I'm on call this weekend, and I got called out. Dan Wheeler, I got caught on the wrong video too. That's weird. It should have a different title. I was hoping to use StreamYard tonight. Unfortunately, I just couldn't get the videos uploaded in order to use StreamYard so that everyone could beam in. Digwell Green Fingers, get my words out. Facebook is ahead of YouTube on the audio sync. Okay, might be something going on there. I'll look into it. Hopefully, when I switch to StreamYard, we won't have this problem. Mike Stevens, hello, Richard and everyone. Hello to you. Oh, Mike, I've got your email and I've been meaning to reply to it. You may remember, people at home, he mentioned that last week he had a compost bins that he struggled to get anything out of when it was when it was full or ready to use it. He couldn't lift it up. Well, he sent me some photos and they look to be the decorative type of compost bins. They're made to look like wood, even though they're made out of plastic. And it doesn't have a door on the bottom at all. It does look quite similar to the type that you would fill from the top and then just let all the worms carry the stuff out. But in answer to Mike, and I'll put this in an email to you, in answer to Mike's question, what I would be inclined to do to make it easier for you is get everything chopped up nice and small so it comes out of that compost bin a lot easier. It's something I've been playing around with myself, and as I said earlier, 2 bins of my own composts that I emptied yesterday. I just lifted them up because it's so much quicker just to lift them out than struggling to try and get out of those doors. I don't know what it is with those compost bins that have these tiny little doors on the front. They never seem good enough when I'm trying to stick my spade in there. I don't know if that's just me or anybody else has that same trouble, but the plastic ones, the doors just never seem big enough. And in the end, I end up just lifting the entire compost bin off and shoveling it out because it just makes life easier. It is quite a bit of work to lift up the compost bins, especially when they're full. But I have found that by chopping it up small and also by mixing around the compost when it's trying to compost down, does make it quite a bit easier and make some, really good compost at the same time. Dan Wheeler, I had a bonfire yesterday while Kelly weeded the beds. Busy. I bet it's nice to go down the allotment with your partner and get her involved at the same time. Not that that's a dig at anyone, of course. She does the cleaning in the house that she quite often tells me that off for bringing my muddy boots through. Skinny Jean Garner, today we made pumpkin soup. Well, Olive just stabbed at a pumpkin, but she was there. And did she like the pumpkin soup? Because I know last week she was asking about it. There was another video, I think, Turbo Stream. Hello, everyone else. I don't know what's gone on. It should only be the one. I will have to check out what's going on and see what's happening over on YouTube at some point. Andrew Norris has also said found you, so I don't know what's happening. I've put the date on as the correct date, but who knows? Yeah, so everyone's talking to Mike about this dreaded compost bin, but I've got to say, I thought about this yesterday as I was emptying out my compost bins. Those doors on the front, they're just not big enough, and because they're made of plastic, you go in to get a spadeful out, and you hit the side if worried about just breaking the side of a compost bin. So I've just now adopted the whole idea. I just lift it off, and that'll be that. Skinny Jim Garner is saying that Olive hated her pumpkin soup. Well, I'm sure there's ways we can make it better for her. Depends on what you added. Did you add chili? If you added chili, she probably won't like it anyway. By the way, everyone, is the connection a bit more stable this week? I want to know because we've been having troubles with that, and I've done something a bit different today. Not keen on the reflection behind your head. You know what? I'm not keen on it either. I've upgraded my lights, and because I've got this thing here to sort of stop, if I move it, my grow lights cause a star effect. So I've put this thing up to stop that from happening, but it's caused reflection from my big light. But I've changed the bulb in that, made that better. Not technical, that's a bit technical. So I will, don't worry, when we are in the new shed, we won't have this problem. A bit technical. Much better connection. Thank you. Excellent. That's what I needed to know. So, like I said, video okay, but sound out of sync on YouTube. I'm hearing that. I'm not sure. I think you may have scheduled through StreamYard but gone live on another video. I didn't schedule it on StreamYard at all, but I'll check that out later and find out what happened, because the only reason I'm not using StreamYard, I couldn't upload the videos to it because it's weird. Facebook picture is good. Sounds not in line. No, but no worries. I'll worry about that another day. Anyway, that's why people were talking about other video. Weird. I didn't even go live on StreamYard or anything like that. So anyway, that's technical. Let's not talking about gardening. This is what we're here for. So yeah, what's everyone been up to in their own garden, allotment, that sort of thing? Is anybody else out there finding that furlough, or anybody out there who has been furloughed looking forward to spending more time in their garden? And I guess what I really want to know is what tasks, what jobs are you going to be doing throughout this next month that we're in this lockdown? I've got plenty that I want to get on and do, such as digging over this area to build a new well, it's my orchard. I spoke about this last week. Orchard, wildflower area, herb bed, that sort of thing. That's my main focus, as well as building this new shed when my wood arrives, my cladding. I'm going to chase them up again. I tell you what, what's the time? It's coming up to 1:15. So somewhere I have got a video that has came in from the wonderful Kevin Hall. Now, we went to Kevin Hall's allotment a couple of weeks ago and had a bit of a nosy round, as you may remember. And I was really impressed with his soil and how clean his allotment is. But Kevin has got the bug. I think it's safe to say. He's got a second allotment now. And this time, it's actually in his name. Now, he showed me it last week when I was there, and I gave my own opinion, but he's officially, he messaged me during this week to say it's his. He officially has got this allotment, and he's made a little video just to talk about it. Now, which one is it? I think it's this. No, hold on, it's here somewhere. It is here somewhere, because I... It is here somewhere. I know it is. I know it is. Let me down again. Let me try switching on to where is it? Layout editor, not the studio mode, and that might make it give me a bit more time. So I'll carry on anyway, chatting. Now he it's not that one. He was, as I said, Kevin's new allotment. I don't know what's going on. Everything's going wrong again. Kevin's new allotment. Is it that one? No. I give up. Give up. Kevin's new allotment. We'll discuss it anyway. How would you attack it as it's as he's got it? How would you attack a new allotment? Now, in the video that he sent me, which I can't show, what you would see is a lot of brambles and a lot of overgrown. Basically, it's been neglected. Now, when I looked at it last week, my first thought was actually just to start at the top end, digging over, clearing out the weeds, and then cover it all over with weed suppressing membrane. Oh, we have a caller. Hello, caller.
Hello there, this is PC World. We've been getting high complaints from the streaming community. You're having some issues.
Yeah, I'm always having issues. There's nothing changes.
Have you tried turning it on and off?
I can't do that midstream. I know what the trouble is. I got called out earlier, which is normally the time I
mate.
set everything up, and I rushed in and turned everything on, ready to go, and haven't run through everything.
Mate, never mind. I've got a question for you, Richie.
You go for it.
It's Lee Conley, by the way. It's obviously been fireworks and bonfires, and I've not been, I'm a bit tight. So we basically sat outside and watched everyone else's fireworks, but at a bonfire. And now I've got loads and loads of ash left over.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, and my question to you is, and I think I've heard this before, is can I put it on my beds?
Right. The answer to that is yes, you can. So it's a good source of potash, or potassium, which is a very good feed for plants like tomatoes in order to cause them to create fruit, which obviously we want from our tomatoes.
Right.
Now,
so am I better to wait? Am I better to save it?
You can sprinkle it on the soil now, and it'll get into the soil, but it could get washed away. So what they used to do in the olden days, particularly in World War II, they would save as much of that wood ash as they possibly could into a bucket and keep it as dry as they could. And then when they had planted out their tomatoes and established it, they would sprinkle it around the surface or around the base of the plants in order to add that potash to the ground, to the plants.
Perfect, man. That's what I'll be doing. I'll be collecting that ash.
Yeah, I would do the same. In fact, I've told my wife now when she cleans out the grate not to throw it away because I want it.
I'll be sieving it because there's a few nails in it, but after I've sieved it,
quicker way than sieving it. Get a strong magnet, and all those nails will be picked out.
Oh, that's a good idea. I didn't think about that.
There you go.
Nice one.
There you go. I've done this
before.
That's
what you're here for, mate. You're not just here for tech information. You're also here for gardening, as we've literally just found out.
Yeah, well, the tech information doesn't seem to work anyway. Now, while I have you on the phone, obviously I was meant to be showing this video from Kevin's allotment, his new allotment.
I'm sure it was brilliant.
It is pretty brilliant. I will try and get it ready to show next week because he sent me a second one anyway. How would you attack an allotment when you first get it?
I think I've answered this in this show before. What I'd do with it is I'd half it, and for the first year I'd only work on half of the allotment.
Right.
And I'd leave the rest. Either put a membrane over it, so on the second year there'll be no weeds, or just let it do its thing and just keep it chopped down.
So you basically cut it into smaller pieces and
half it.
Because,
to be honest with you, it doesn't matter what size. I mean, if you've got a small allotment, I'd still half it because there's a lot of work to begin with on an allotment. I remember when I first started, I didn't half it, and it was a nightmare. It was just too much. It was just overload.
Right. Yeah.
So start small and then get bigger.
Get bigger. Now,
keep it tidy, isn't it?
Something I was going to ask, had I shown this video, is where would you start? Because my gut instinct was to start at the entrance. But what I saw on this video, down the far end, there's a greenhouse and a shed that Kevin's inherited. Where would you start with that?
Start with you need a shed to make tea. Number one, right? Because back-breaking work can be to get an allotment when some allotments look amazing. I saw a picture the other day of an allotment. It looked incredible. I mean, no one's ever that lucky. So you need somewhere to rest, mate. You need somewhere to store stuff. Start with the shed. Move on to the greenhouse. especially at this time of year, you're going to need it in the new year, so that needs to be clear, and then work from there. But also, if you're going to be like chilling or having a cup of tea at the shed, you want that area to look good,
Yeah, I'm with
give
you
you a
on that.
boost to continue.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. In fact, it's made me sort of think on where to advise Kevin to start myself now, talking about it more.
Where do you have a cup of tea?
Where do I have a cup of tea? I have it in my big shed on the allotment, which is purposely set up just for. I don't have any tools or anything in there. It's just somewhere for me to sit down, have a cuppa, and get out the rain.
It's an important thing to have, isn't it?
I think so, because it does mentally help you out and just get you in that frame of mind. Well, it might be a bit lazy, but it's just somewhere nice to tuck up warm,
Yeah.
even though it's got no
I think it's
heat in
lazy.
there.
It's just everyone needs to rest for a minute. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, those are my top tips for when you first get an allotment. But like, I chopped, and also don't rotivate. Don't rotivate anything, because that
rotivate.
was my biggest. I mean, I've told this story a million of times.
Not on here.
Well, no. Well, when I first got my allotment, I thought it'd be a great idea to buy a rotavator, get rid of that couch grass. Obviously, anyone that knows about couch grass, it's probably the worst thing you can do is chop it into small little bits.
Yeah.
But the allotment, let me tell you something, Rich, looks amazing for. Oh, hang on, yeah. Oh, looks amazing. So I'm just getting an order from my 5-year-old. Looked amazing for about a month, and then everything started growing back through. So don't rotivate.
Don't
Obviously,
rotivate.
it's not. Oh, and also, here's another thing. When you first get an allotment, plan it. I say it's about gardens and allotments, but put it on paper what you're going to do. It will change, but if you've got an idea of what it's going to look like in the future, it will definitely help you, rather than just going
Yeah.
get in there with a spade and that's it. Having a bit of a plan is what you need to do.
Okay. That sounds like a good idea.
There you go, mate.
There you
I'm
go.
sure you did the same, didn't you? You must have had some sort of plan where you're going to put your beds and stuff. Didn't you?
I sort of did, but I didn't plan it until I'd been on there for about a year to figure out what I was going to do, because I same as my garden, I always like to live with it a bit and just see how everything works.
Yeah, that's true. See what pops up.
See what pops up and see what does better. But there's something called permaculture, which keep looking into, but to me that's something I've kind of taken away from that. Same as moving into a house, rather than rushing in and decorating everything, I always just like to sort of live with it and see what I feel needs to change before I go all in.
All in, yeah. I know what you're saying. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, so yeah, there you go, mate.
There
Well,
we
it was a
go.
shame we couldn't see that video, but I look forward to seeing it next Sunday.
Yeah, I will make sure it goes up next Sunday, and with the second video, and we'll follow that up from there.
Big question of the week, and we ask it every Sunday. How's the shed going?
How's the shed going? I'm still waiting for this cladding.
Oh my God! I could have brought the cabin from Colchester.
I know.
There we go.
I have been in touch. They just need more orders in this direction before they can run down with a delivery.
Okay. Well, we live in hope. Next Sunday we will return to Shed Watch.
Yeah. Well, as soon as as soon as I hear anything, you will know.
We'll get instantly told. Okay.
Yeah.
Mate, have a great show. I've got to go because Olive wants some water, and yeah, the answer was no. She did not like the pumpkin soup.
Well, she'll have to try mine because it's going to be better.
Well, yeah, you're going to show off, really, aren't you? I'll tell you what, I've got a question for you. I've got this pumpkin soup, right?
Yeah.
And it tastes all right. Don't get me wrong. It needs something, and I don't know what it needs.
Chili?
Yeah, maybe a bit of chili in there might help it.
Yeah, or black pepper, salt, potato might lift it. Bit of cream actually can sometimes help as well.
Maybe a bit of cream. Yeah, I need to adjust it just very, very slightly for when my wife gets in from work tonight.
Yeah,
a very slight adjustment. So wish me luck.
Good luck.
Great show, mate, and I'll be listening.
Yep. Take care, buddy. You see you. Speak to you soon. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. There we go, Lee Connolly. So let's have a quick look at the comments. We'll go first over on. Has he gone? Yeah, he has. Over on Facebook. Ian Beddoes cleaned up dog poo today. At 16, she doesn't like to go for a walk anymore. We'll try to rake up dead leaves tomorrow. Cheers for that, Ian. Stuart Jackson. I wish I could have a month on the garden at home. Our school garden has got much more in it, so I need to spend time at home. Yeah, it's a difficult one, that one. Very difficult. I'd love to spend another month at home, but I've got to pay bills. I work nights 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. so go to the allotment most days. What tasks or jobs can I do this week whilst on days doing my forklift training, doing 9 a.m. to 5 p.m? Well, I'm guessing unless you go early in the morning, by the time you come home, Dan, it's going to be dark. So you're probably going to want to do stuff inside the shed if you've got a light in the shed. Perhaps sow some broad beans or some seeds like that. Tidy the shed, other things like that. I'll put that out there. What can people do in their allotment in the evenings this week? Charlotte Gleason is out there. Hello. Stuart Jackson. I need to cover an area at school. Is plastic sheet okay to use? Or could you let me know a good brand to use? Thanks. Plastic sheet is okay, but what it doesn't do is let the rainwater through, so it can dry out the ground, and I'm not a great lover of it. If anything, get the woven Mypex, I think it's called. It's quite expensive, but you put that down, it does do quite a good job. Another thing you can use, it will deteriorate, but another thing that I've had a lot of success with is cardboard, just laying cardboard down. If you can get hold of lots and lots of cardboard, which if you have a look in my garden, I can probably find plenty for you. That will do the same job as a plastic sheet. It will, however, deteriorate. Ian Beddoes, nice to hear the Genie. Oh, yeah. Richard Golden, hello, sir. What boots did you go for? I am looking at the muck boots. Now, if anybody is wondering what Richard's on about there, I posted in Facebook and Twitter the other day asking what boots does everybody wear on the allotment. I'm a size 12. I've got welly boots, but I find them a real pain to get on and off. And the ones that seem to keep popping up are muck boots with neoprene uppers. They seem to be a lot easier to get on and off. But what other boots does anybody else wear out there while down the allotment in this horrible wet weather, especially when you've got a really hard clay like I have? Stuart's got a suggestion of making paper pots in the evenings, which that's a not bad idea. Make paper pots and get off to get them ready for next year. Over on YouTube, so I've probably Sink his way out from the fisherman. I don't know what's going on. We just got to cope with it. Mike Stevens, is tannin harmful? It's in tea, isn't it? I don't know if tannin is actually harmful because it is in tea, but in high doses, I don't know. I don't think it is, I'll be honest, but I'll put that out there. There's some very knowledgeable people out there who I'm sure will be able to answer that. They seem now you don't. Reckon Kevin's allotment is in a coal mine. I'm so annoyed that didn't work. I might have to try again in a bit. And it's not even Halloween. Would it be best to let the snow and ice take hold in the winter and start in the spring? Yes and no. This is for Kevin, letting the snow and ice. What I would say, and I'm going to come to what I think, the winter time is the ideal time to really sort of get those big infrastructure jobs out of the way, so that come the spring, your ground is ready for planting and you haven't got to prepare the beds to plant in them. They are already prepared. And not only that, we don't really get, especially here on the south coast, don't get snow and ice in the way that it will kill off a huge amount of grass or plants. So And that is on Kevin's allotment. There is a lot of grass and a lot of brambles. Turbo Stream, I would dig out the brambles, Kevin, section by section, and mulch cover it till the spring. Yeah, that's what I would say as well. Mike Stevens, same with ashes from stoves, very good for the garden. Yeah, as long as it's just wood. Kevin's Rambles, masses of brambles all around and elder trees behind the greenhouse. I've been cutting out. I also trimmed the grass, which was very thick. Yeah, I that brings me up to where I'm going to suggest, and I'll see what everyone else thinks in just a moment. Turbo Stream, I'm saving my wood ash from my wood stove. Brilliant. Yeah, I'm doing the same. Just keep it dry. Digging out brambles, Kevin's saying, perhaps work away from the shed in small sections. As Sean says, do a little and do it often. Yeah, that's exactly what I would say as well. Do a little, but do it often. We have done most of the work around the shed and greenhouse. The shed is in terrible condition, so will have to be replaced. Kevin's Rambles, I had a plan of putting my bed in my bedroom. Oh, he's going to pop the video on his YouTube channel at Kevin's Rambles. Andrew Norris, try pumpkin and parsnip soup. Two wonderful flavours that complement each other perfectly. So Lee, if you're still watching, try adding some parsnip to your pumpkin soup. In fact, parsnips can be quite sweet, so that's probably worth adding. On my local gardening radio show, the gardener makes a feed from tea bags. He steeps used tea bags in a bucket for a few weeks. Then the water is a liquid feed, especially for blueberries. I've not heard of that one, but it's amazing what people do make the feed from. So, Kevin's allotment. Where would I start? Well, my first thing I would start with is actually, as everyone suggested, with the shed and the greenhouse. What I would first do is get a brush cutter. A bit like a strimmer, but it's got a blade on it. If you haven't got one, Kevin, I've got one that you can borrow. I might have to service it, but let me know. But it's a blade, so it spins around and actually chops through things like brambles, like a hot knife through butter. It's really actually a much preferred. I much prefer to use that. It is a lethal tool, so you don't want to get it to near anyone's legs because it will break bones. But it's basically a spinning blade, and that cuts through everything good and proper. So I would actually start by walking around and seeing if there's any plants you want to keep. Keep those safe, and then cut down all the rest, and then cover everything with a weed suppressor membrane, cardboard. You'll need a lot of cardboard, and even plastic sheeting, although I don't think much of plastic sheeting. Just cover that all up and let it die back. Then start clearing out all the shed, because in the shed, which as Kevin did say is in a bad state and that probably will need replacing, but there was quite a bit of crap. There was some broken glass, which might be good for the greenhouse still. There was a lot of, actually I saw some weed membrane already in that shed. It looks a bit tatty and falling apart, but just to make a start, it might just help you out. Clear that out, repair the shed, cover everything over, then work in the greenhouse, because that greenhouse is going to come into its own over the winter months. You can use that if it's ready to go to start your plants off earlier, protect quite a few plants. You can get some lettuces growing in there, or some spring onions, salad leaves, quite a bit you can actually get going on in the greenhouse if you are ready to go. So the greenhouse, I think, is where I would first start looking to get ready. And then from that, I would just start from that area, the shed and the path, work your way back, clearing out all the weeds, mulching the soil, working out where you want your paths, and then get those up and running, ready to go. Which I think is probably where many people are, or what a lot of people are saying, despite the fact that I haven't been able to show you the video that has been created. Halfords always be great and helpful for cardboard. That's from Dan Wheeler. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if Halfords are still open actually, but any bike shops as well, they get some really big boxes that the bikes come in, and they are actually really good for covering over beds because of the sheer size of them. So, good idea if you can get in touch with a local bike shop or something. It's worth looking at. The tannin is more acidic, so that's probably why for tea bags. Now, I do have, if I can do this right, I do have a news article of the week to share with everyone, which, let me see, is it that one? There we go. Yep. We have got this working today. So this came from Mashable UK as the news article for the week. Grow herbs, veggies and more with a planter that does the work for you. That's obviously a picture of it. Easily grow vegetables and herbs in your home with the Intelligent Flower hydroponic planter on sale for nearly $200 as of November the 8th. Ignore the $200 bit because that's not what I wanted to bring up. If you're stuck on the inside of a 700 square foot apartment and are desperately craving the outdoors, try bringing nature into your home with this Intelligent Flower hydroponic planter. Grow the green thumb for your comfort of blah 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 without all the mess. This indoor planter allows you to grow plants using high efficiency LED grow lights, so it looks cool and gets things done. This planter is designed specifically to cultivate plants without the presence of soil to avoid soil contamination. Heavy metal contamination, pesticides, residues, antibiotics, GMO, blah blah blah. You can finally know the history of your plants if you're going to grow them. Now, basically, it's a trying to sell you something type. Let's bring this back to me. There we go. Basically, it's trying to sell you this hydroponic kit, which at $200 is quite a bit of money. But what I do know, IKEA do sell a similar sort of thing for considerably less, and I've used them. And they've been quite successful actually, and I quite like them. I said this year I was going to do more hydroponics. I just didn't get round to doing hydroponics, but certainly throughout this winter, I do want to do more hydroponics, and certainly next year, I actually plan on building a big hydroponic system outside. Now I know I don't know if he's still out there. Ed Loud. Excuse me, I forgot your name for a minute there. Sorry, Ed. He is in a flat with very little growing space, so a hydroponic kit might be just what Ed Loud needs in order to grow some food in his own little flat on his windowsill. I've got a question coming from Dan Wheeler. I'm late planting my spring bulbs. I believe ground might be too wet. Am I better off this year starting them in tubs and transfer them in spring? I'm trying to think where you are. How wet is your ground? Because where I am, it's not exactly wet. It's moist, but it's not sitting in puddles of water. What I would say, it's certainly, if you feel it is too wet, then grow them in pots, let them grow on, and then get them into the ground when they are a bit drier next spring next year. Or just keep them in the pots. They won't do any harm. You can move them around, of course, and I quite like spring bulbs such as daffodils or tulips in pots because I just think they look better, in my opinion. Daffodils and tulips, the flowers of those are obviously edible. That's right, Bristol. I thought you were up that way. So I think Bristol is quite a wet area, but what's a good way to tell if your soil is too wet is just dig a little hole and see if there's any water that rushes in to fill that hole. If it's not, then you're probably okay. But if it is just damp, then go ahead and just try planting out your bulbs. Let's see if anybody else has any ideas on that. Is it too late to plant your spring bulbs if the soil is going to be too wet now? My opinion, I don't think it is, but that's just me. Even the photos aren't going to work. I've just had a look to see if the photos would work, and I don't think they are. No, I spent ages getting those already as well. Bugger. And quite a collection of photos from people as well. Right. Mike Stevens, does anyone know if one can have a compost heap if they don't have any grass cuttings? People say you need to layer the compost with grass. So, no, you don't need grass clippings. The grass clippings are more there as your layer of green material. So, green materials can be quite a wide range of things. Grass clippings is the most common form because it's easily available, but fresh leaves could be a green material. If you're cutting back any vines, any branches, anything like that, that's your green material. Your brown material, which is where most people struggle to get plenty of, would be your cardboard is a brown material, wood shavings, wood as in logs or chopped up branches. That's your brown layer. So what you really want, a layer of brown, a layer of green, layer of brown, layer of green in equal quantities, which is easier said than done, in order to build up a good compost heap. What I tend to do, obviously I have chickens, but I mow the lawn, that's my layer of green. And I throw, if I take out my tomato plants, if I cut anything back, everything I throw goes onto the lawn. I run over it with a lawnmower and then throw that into my compost bins. Added to that all my chicken waste, my quail waste and all that, and it really does make, I find, a beautiful, well rotted down compost. Lovely brown, lovely, full of life and just beautiful to use. And yes, you can compost cardboard. It's a brown material. You're best off cutting it up, shredding it down to make the compost quick. But there's a huge amount you can compost. You know, cardboard, old cotton clothes. That if it was organic, you can compost it down. If it was once alive, you can compost it down. A huge amount of things. Huge amount of things. I will really have to go into make a podcast just on composting again and what you can and can't compost. In fact, it's probably easy to say what you can't compost because stones, you can't compost those. I save egg boxes for brown material, shredded paper. And Jim M, hello. Grass is good and a readily available nitrogen source, but don't be scared of using urine. That's funny enough. When you're stuck on the allotment, best place to go is on the compost heap. So yeah, definitely possible to compost down cardboard. Now over on Facebook, so Dan is saying he's expecting a whole week of heavy rain with regards to the daffodil or the spring bulb. So if that factors in, I personally don't think it'll be a problem, but see what anyone else says. Hayley Davis, hello to you. First time commented, but thank you. Been up to the new house today, making the beds to get my veg garden started. Can't wait. Hopefully get the broad beans you sent planted in there if they germinate okay. Oh, excellent. Yes, Hayley is a member of my Veg Ground podcast supporters group. And we sent out some broad beans this month as one of the seeds. It was Aquadulce Claudia. Guarantee they will germinate. I've sown them right up until December. They will germinate, so no problem with that. You can even germinate them, plant them outside, just protect them from things like mice and what have you. of course, Haley, I think if I remember right, you're in Wales, therefore you're not restricted with lockdown, but you was. Uh, so yeah, I think you've got great start. Those broad beans will germinate. I've never known them not to germinate. They're so reliable. Yeah. Always on the heap from Jim M with regards to urine. Yeah, is I know people can be a bit afraid of using urine on the heap, but Bob Flowerdew, who he's the most organic person you would ever meet, does it all the time, and it's never done him any harm. Well, that's debatable if anybody has met him. Debatable if it's done any harm, but it certainly does it all the time. Turbo Stream. I use tea leaves, coffee grounds leaves, weeds, grass. In fact, anything that was once a plant, it goes in the bin. Yeah. Basically that's what I do. If it was once alive, it can be used. Is entirely how I think about using my compost bin. If I've got a wormery, which also helps. In fact, I've seen a new wormery that goes into the ground, which I'm really looking into buying myself and trying out, and seeing how it works. And Dan Wheeler's obviously has trimmed his beard and added that to the compost bin this week. I've heard of people adding things like that as well. So yeah. You put couch grass in the compost. You can put couch grass in a compost bin, but it will take probably a year, probably more likely 2 years, before it really rots down and kills off all the roots before it's safe to use. So you've got to be really, really careful. But yes, or you can, as TurboStream says, dry out the roots. So leave it in the sun, really dry it out, and basically make sure it is dead before it goes into the compost heap. What I personally like to do, again, I chop it up, run it over with a lawnmower, chop everything up nice and small, throw it in the compost bin, and that compost bin gets really, really hot, and I find that does really kill off the couch grass, but it does have to be in there for a good couple of years. A year, it probably will do it, but a good couple of years to be on the safe side before it really goes. Sean James Cameron is out there. Hello. Quick tip, make that rolling text yellow. Will look much better. Thank you. I will try that. I was hoping to be on StreamYard tonight. It's just couldn't upload the videos in time. Then the videos didn't work. He's been filming in the woods this week. It was very busy in there. Loads of people, at least 200. It was busy on the beaches, but can you blame him? Can you blame him? Your poor lawnmower, as Skinny G Garner says. Yeah, my poor lawnmower. That's why I've got 3 lawnmowers. One down on the allotment and 2 at home. Do you, and this is a good question from Mike Stevens, do you ever use natural predators to reduce pests and weeds, Richard? Yes, definitely to reduce pests, because I do not use weed killer. I do not use pesticides or anything, even slug pellets. Don't use any of them. What I do, obviously at home I've got the chickens, which do a lot of the work for me. I've also got hedgehogs in the garden, which eat a lot of slugs and snails and help for that. And I also feed birds, and I've put up little bird houses to help those out. I've also fat balls, anything like that to encourage just those natural things into my garden. In fact, this morning I was looking at my garden and it was just full of little blue tits, chaffinches, robins, you name it, they were there, and there was hundreds of them. And they were... What I found quite interesting, the chickens have got used to them now, and what the chickens tend to do, they'll go underneath the bird feeders and wait for the birds to knock off some of their bird seed so the chickens can get hold of it as well, because they love bird seed. You need to get a goat. I went to visit a local goat in my area. He's called Flymo. There was something about using a goat. I think actually using animals, I know not everybody will like this if you're a vegan, and that's fine. But I do think using animals as part of a rotation system has a lot to offer us, particularly pigs, cows, on much bigger scale, especially agriculture and agricultural places such as farms. I personally think it's much better than just letting them go fallow or doing whatever they can. No, it's not a COVID cough, it's an allergy cough. So one thing that I do is, obviously I've got my chickens at home, and I let them roam all over my garden now. They eat all the slugs, as I said, they're slugs, snails, but they also dig over all the ground. Their feet, I mean, if you think of a cultivator, that three-pronged cultivator, that is a chicken foot. And as they scratch the surface, they're effectively hoeing the surface for me. And of course, if I let them munch away any plants that are in the ground, so that's my old cabbages, they munch away at the leaves and they'll kill those off as well. So for me, chickens are great for that reason. And then added to that, they poop all over the place, which adds that manure into the ground. That's the one reason, I think, to have chickens. And as Mike Stevens say, a pig is the best rotivator in the world. A pig is actually very good for getting out a lot of weeds. Pigs and geese, what they'll do is they'll dig over that soil. They will eat all those weeds. If you've got couch grass and you add well, what's that? I lost my train of thought because I just saw a comment. If you have couch grass or what was the other one? Jerusalem artichokes. Pigs will eat all those by digging them out. So there are allotments out there that will have pigs come into their garden, into their allotments when they're empty. And I think that is actually what every allotment site should do in many ways. Jim, this is the comment that threw me for a second. Thank you very much, Jim. Just like to say, your channel has come on leaps and bounds over the last few years. Love your approach, and I'm enjoying these live videos. Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much. I'm trying to continually improve and make everything as good as I can get. There's still so much more I want to do. It's just having the time to sit down and do all these things. One day, I will be able to. When I win the lottery, I'll be able to sit at home and do this all the time. It would be a dream. If we laid black plastic on the ground to kill the weeds and grass, how about making small holes in the plastic to let the moisture through? This is from Kevin with regards to his allotment. You could do that. The only trouble is those small holes will let a plant grow through, and once it grows through, it can get sunlight and therefore continue to live. So you could do it, but I wouldn't recommend it. Plastic such as tarpaulin is better than nothing, but the best stuff, as I said, is woven Mypex. It'll last a good 4 years anyway. It's probably about the same price as tarpaulin, but it is specifically for gardening, and it's almost like a landscaper fabric. Pigs eat the roots, if I recall from Turbo Stream. Yeah, they definitely do. They really definitely do eat the roots, and I really like I really like the use of pigs. I'm no good in my garden though. And Sean, he'll be buying a van next. Well, actually, it is in my plan to buy a camper van, but personally, I've got the work van anyway. Oh, here's Kevin. I don't think you can do this actually. But Sean suggested join a local allotment shop and get it much cheaper. But I don't think you can. Where Kevin is, they have an allotment shop, so that's not really an option. My dad's came up with another option, Kevin. Old carpet. That will allow water through and it will suppress the weeds. Now, many allotment sites have actually banned carpet. I know mine has. Not because it does a bad job. It does actually do the job that's just been described. But what happens eventually, that it does wear down, and if it's left in the soil, which I've discovered it, it then becomes a real pain to get off if anybody has it later on. But definitely, yeah, carpet might be another thing for you. Sean James Cameron is suggesting shark fin melon. That will cover an area for you. That won't be till next spring that you can do that, but Sean's speaking from experience there. I keep meaning to try shark fin melon actually. So if anybody has seen the video going back 2-3 years ago, I think it was, Sean grew a shark fin melon and it took over his whole allotment and it produced a lot of fruit, but it was a big plant. Even the biggest pumpkins, biggest pumpkin plants, this dwarfed them. Robert Brailsford, hello. He's suggested a pond liner is best for stopping weeds. Pond liner, that'll work as well. That comes back into that tarpaulin plastic problem, and it'll work, but it won't. What it won't do is let the moisture through, which might be a good thing, but it might be a bad thing as well. A thick layer of newspapers, Turbo Stream is suggesting as well. Excuse me. And my dad's also suggesting to get offcuts from carpet shops for free. That's definitely an idea, carpets. And thinking about it, Kevin, in your job, you might be able to, but you might want to check your allotment rules because they may not allow the carpets to work. Well, we've got 2 minutes to go. If anybody does want to call in, 07307 135 174. Unfortunately, I want to say it's been a bit of a disaster this week. It has been a slight disaster with things not being in sync, which I can't figure out why. We've also, the video's not loading. I can't figure out why. And what else have we had wrong? I can't think. But the stream stayed live this time. Sarah Chops, would straw work as a cover to suppress weeds? Now, that's a good one, actually. I experimented with a straw mulch on my strawberry bed this year down on the allotment. What I found is it did work at suppressing some of the bigger leaves, such as the docks or the things like that. But what I found is that the couch grass still grew through the straw. It didn't suppress the straw. And the reason I think that happened is that if you imagine, let's say the straw is my fingers, the grass could just sort of work its way through and suppress it. But straw does work, and in fact, I think straw works better as a mulch at stopping the moisture from escaping in the summer sun. Plus, given the size of Kevin's allotment, he would need a lot of straw, but it's definitely an idea. I had a guy on the podcast actually back in at March, April time. I know it was during the first lockdown, and he was the inventor of straw bale gardening. He was an American chap, really nice, knowledgeable bloke, and he actually said perhaps just grow in the entire straw bales, which was another thing I wanted to try this year. Just couldn't get a straw bale, but next year definitely on my list of doing a straw bale garden. And thinking about it, that might work quite well in very weedy sites because of how big a straw bale is. Charlotte Gleason, sorry I've been commenting. I'm listening while cooking tea as usual, roasting elephant garlic for the first time. You're in for a treat. Love elephant garlic. Absolutely love the stuff. And best of all, it will last in storage for ages. So really, really worth growing. A thick layer of leaves under newspaper could work. Lots of ideas are coming in to help Kevin with suppressing these weeds. Sean James Cameron, I was in the Sunday Telegraph today talking about the amount of women on allotment sites compared with men. Less men seem to be taken on plots. What ratio do you have on your sites? I think there's an equal amount of men and women on our site, I've got to say. I would actually say, thinking about it, is more men, but they are the older generations who have been on their allotment sites, on their allotments for years. but certainly newer people, there certainly seems to be more women coming along, or more families actually. I think it's a better way to say it. More families joining in on our allotment sites and getting involved. I've heard this discussion. I think it was you that discussed it, Sean, about this more women on allotment sites compared to men. Is that actually what's going on, or is it just that it's always been considered a man thing, and now women are getting into it? I had an argument with one bloke, and I say argument with oh, what's happened to my focusing there? Sorry, it just faded out there. One bloke on my allotment site who collared me at the gate as we were leaving one day, who reckoned that families should not be on the allotments and it should only be men on the allotment. I kind of politely turned around and sort of said, actually, no. If that was the case, all allotment sites would be closed because there's not enough people to do it. He didn't like it, but he agreed with me. Right, it's just gone past 7 o'clock, so I think we have done enough. And I'm going to sign off for today. Excuse me. On the podcast this week, I can't remember what I'm doing off the top of my head, but there's plenty going on. If you want to become a member of the Veg Grow Podcast Club, it's more aimed at the supporting member, more aimed at the podcast than the videos. £5 a month, and you get 6 packets of seeds at least each month, which can all be sown in that month, and that just helps keep the podcast going and keep the basically helps me encourage more and more people to grow their own food, which is what I really want to do, especially in these times when I think it's so important. You can find out on the veggrowpodcast.co.uk. I have got an advert, but I'm not going to put that just yet. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. We'll be back again next Sunday, 6 p.m. Maybe we'll have StreamYard working. We'll find out what's going on. But until then, please take care. I'll speak to you all again then.